Humans promise forever. Evolution never did. Long before rings, vows, family names, or laws, there was only a fire in the dark. A few dozen people sleeping close together, a child crying, someone watching the edge of the trees, someone noticing who sat beside whom. And inside that small, dangerous world, love was probably real. But it may not have meant what we think it means today. Not because love is fake, not because loyalty is impossible, but because humans were never built with one clean romantic instruction. We were built with tension. One part of us bonds. It attaches. It misses one person more than the others. Another part compares, competes, notices, wonders, changes. And somewhere between those two ancient forces, human relationships began. So the question is not whether ancient humans loved. They almost certainly did. The harder question is this: did love always mean one partner, forever, and no one else? Biology answers quietly at first, with a distinction most people never hear. There is social monogamy, and there is sexual monogamy. Social monogamy means two individuals form a pair. They stay close, share resources, defend space, raise offspring, and behave like partners. Sexual monogamy means they reproduce only with each other. Those sound like the same thing. Nature says they are not. For a long time, birds looked like the perfect symbol of loyalty. Two parents building a nest, feeding chicks, guarding the same fragile little home. It looked like romance written into instinct. Then DNA testing arrived, and the nest became less simple. In many bird species, the male helping raise the chicks is not always the genetic father of every chick there. The bond is real. The parenting is real. The partnership is real. But perfect exclusivity is not always part of the deal. That matters because it breaks the easy assumption. Nature can create a family without creating perfect fidelity. And humans, like birds, are capable of deep pair bonds. The mistake is thinking that because bonding is natural, strict lifelong exclusivity must be equally natural everywhere, in every age, under every condition. Our closest relatives make the picture even harder to force into one rule. Chimpanzees are not monogamous. Bonobos are not monogamous. Gorillas usually organize around one dominant male and multiple females. Gibbons look closer to pair bonding, but even there, pair bonding does not always mean flawless exclusivity. Across primates, strict monogamy is not the obvious default. Then the body tells the same story in a quieter way. In species where males fight intensely for access to many females, males often become much larger than females. Gorillas are the extreme image of that world. In species with very little mating competition, males and females tend to be closer in size. Humans sit between those extremes. Men are usually somewhat larger than women, but not dramatically larger like gorillas. That suggests our ancestors lived with some competition, but probably not a total winner-takes-all system. The same middle pattern appears in reproductive biology. In highly promiscuous species, the body often shows signs of stronger sperm competition. In strongly monogamous species, that pressure is much lower. Humans, again, are not at either extreme. Not chimpanzees. Not a perfectly exclusive species either. Our anatomy does not scream one simple answer. It whispers something more uncomfortable. We are flexible. But flexible does not mean careless. In fact, pair bonding may have mattered so much because human children are so difficult to raise. A human baby is helpless for years. It needs warmth, food, protection, teaching, patience, and almost constant attention. In a prehistoric world with predators, hunger, illness, cold nights, and no backup system, a mother alone would have been under enormous pressure. A bonded partner could change everything. Someone to bring food, someone to stand guard, someone to hold the child when exhaustion became dangerous. That is not a small thing. That is survival. But then the prehistoric camp makes the question harder. Early humans were not isolated, couples living behind locked doors. They lived in small bands, maybe 20 people, maybe 30, maybe 40. No private apartment, no secret second life, no disappearing into a city where nobody knew your name. Everyone saw the pattern. Who shared meat? Who slept near whom? Who avoided whose eyes the next morning? who became tense when someone else laughed too softly beside the fire. In a group that small, romantic conflict was not just private drama. It could weaken the camp. If jealousy turned into violence, hunters lost trust. If two people refused to cooperate, children felt it. If food sharing broke down, survival became thinner for everyone. A broken bond did not stay inside two hearts. It moved through the whole group. So pair bonding may have been more than romance. It may have been a way to calm the dangerous parts of human life. It helped organize care. It reduced some conflict. It made responsibility more visible. But it still does not prove that strict lifelong exclusivity was the only ancient solution. Because humans are cooperative breeders. A child was not usually raised by two people alone in a private little unit. Grandmothers mattered. Aunts mattered. Older siblings mattered. Relatives, allies, and trusted members of the band mattered. A baby belonged to a web of care. And that changes the whole equation. If survival depends on a wider group, then the future of a child does not rest only on one perfect couple staying perfectly together forever. A strong pair bond can work. A new partner later can work. A larger support network can work. Different cultures, pressures, and environments can push human bonding in different directions. That is why the most honest answer is not humans are naturally monogamous or humans are not monogamous. The better answer is this: humans are pair bonding but flexible. We can attach deeply. We can choose one person and mean it. We can stay loyal through hunger, aging, fear, and time. But we also carry older instincts that do not vanish just because society writes a rule over them. Attraction still happens. Comparison still happens. Jealousy still happens. Opportunity still tempts. Fear of loss still cuts. Human love is powerful, partly because it is not automatic. It is built on instincts that do not always agree. And this is where civilization changes the rules. Agriculture did not invent love. It created property. Land could be owned. Food could be stored. Wealth could be passed down. Family lines became important in a way they had not been before. Suddenly, society needed certainty. Who is the father? Who inherits the field? Whose children carry the name? Who belongs to whom? Once those questions became tied to land, status, and power, monogamy became more than a feeling between two people. It became a system. It organized families. It made inheritance cleaner. It reduced some conflicts and created others. Above all, it gave society something biology rarely gives: certainty. So when someone says, one partner forever is human nature, they are not completely wrong. They are just seeing one part of the human animal. Love is natural. Bonding is natural. Jealousy is natural. Desire is natural. Loyalty is natural too. But loyalty is not just an instinct. It is a choice made on top of instincts that are older, messier, and sometimes pulling in different directions. That is why human relationships are so difficult. We are not built like machines with one permanent setting, and we are not empty creatures who invented love yesterday. Ancient humans probably did not live by the exact romantic rules many societies later preached. But they were not loveless. They stayed close. They protected children. They mourned. They trusted. They noticed absence. They formed bonds strong enough to shape survival. Just not always in the clean, permanent, perfectly exclusive way modern culture likes to imagine. The uncomfortable truth is not that monogamy is fake. The uncomfortable truth is that humans were never simple. Somewhere in the dark, beside a dying fire, our ancestors were not asking whether they were naturally monogamous. They were asking who would stay when the child cried, who could be trusted when food was scarce, who would still be there when danger moved beyond the trees, and who mattered enough to be missed when the fire went quiet. Love began not as a perfect rule, but as a fragile answer to a dangerous world.